So here's a question for you. What does the local Ben Davis High School, Taylor Kyle, president of our McLaren SP IndyCar team, and Tom Allen, head coach at Indiana University Big Ten football, have in common, and why are they all here at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? What do they have in common? Taylor, peel back the first layer and tell us why.
Well, I guess we got to go back a few years. We were just talking about it. It's been almost, 20-some years, right? So it's been a while, but for me, I played football at Ben Davis High School. It's just up the road there, maybe 10 minutes. And Coach Allen was my position coach as a linebacker coming in. So, he was my position coach my freshman year, sophomore year. I think junior year you take over as head coach, right? So, played for Coach Allen. I think about where I'm at today. And I would say that, the way I try to lead and the way I try to go about my business has a lot to do with the learnings that I took in those years with Coach Allen. So that was a very critical part of my life, a really important part of my life, something I still value very much today and think about a lot. And obviously seeing Coach Allen move on to the successes that he's had has been very inspiring, and it again shows that when you're around the right people and you're doing the right things, sky's the limit.
Coach, that's all the deep and meaningful stuff. I can hear his teammates and our viewers wanting to know, what kind of a player was he?
I tell you what, he's a good one. Tough, smart, and dependable.
Yep.
I would say those are the three things that stick out to me about Taylor. And just a kid that had a dream in his heart, that kind of born and raised in the Ben Davis system, came up through it, and had a dream one day to be able to be a starting linebacker in that system on that team. And that was the neat thing about Ben Davis. You had a community where young people were elementary age and they came together, played together, and learned the system, came up through it through middle school, and then became a part of it in high school, and had a chance to be able to be a part of some awesome teams and end up being one of our starters, which is an awesome thing. So just not surprised by his success. When people ask me, what he's doing now, I said, nah, I could, whatever he was going to do, he was going to be great at it. Because like you said, he has those qualities of having high character, just did everything we asked him to do. Wasn't the biggest guy, but had a huge heart, and was driven and disciplined and tough. And when you have those qualities, when you got grit to you, then great things are ahead.
So that commonality goes beyond, Ben Davis High and your love of football, because you've brought Indiana football back, right, to where a lot of people wanted it to be. You're in charge of bringing McLaren and that famous name back to where it needs to be in IndyCar. Did you see this in him all those years ago?
Well, I saw greatness in him, yeah, because like you said, I think when you have those qualities that don't change, and I've learned this, and I've coached for 30 years now, so when a young person has those core qualities, they don't usually leave them. They usually just build off of those. And he's been fortunate to be having and being a great arena, and those kind of guys rise to the top, and so I'm not surprised at all by his success. Very proud of him, for sure, and I've become a big race fan, born and raised in Indiana. Didn't come a lot when I was a kid. We came a little bit. We always kind of came to Carburation Day. Was kind of the big thing we came to, but then now being in this role as the head coach, I've got to come to several races and get into the garages and get a chance to be a part of it and see how similar racing can be to football and the team that you build there. So just not surprised at all by what he's done.
And it's a beautiful story, isn't it? Did you think all those years ago back in high school that Coach would go on to become a Big Ten football coach?
Well, I mean, it's a long departure from Ben Davis High School, I can tell you that, right? But it's
sure.
It's no different than the situation that I'm in. I think it's, again, we had a saying back then: discipline, character, toughness, effort, pride. These core values,
Yeah.
right? Had it on a T-shirt. I still remember it 20 years later. And I think, again, as Coach said, when you've got a mission and a goal, you factor those core values into what you're doing. And like I said, the sky's the limit, and I'm again not surprised to see what he's doing as well. And I think, I look at what I'm trying to do here with Aero McLaren SP and what Coach Allen's done with Indiana University, and we're trying to separate ourselves from what's been a tough history. We're trying to win and win regularly and consistently. And having the fortitude and the discipline to battle and just incrementally just get a little bit better every day.
That's right.
Right, and that's what we're about, and you see it happening over there too in Bloomington.
Coach, how important is the word accountability?
Well, it's huge. As he mentioned, we had DCTEP when I was at Ben Davis, and now I use the phrase LEO. I'm a big initials guy because I think those alliterations allows you to remember stuff. And so we talk about accountability, toughness, and love. Those are our 3 pillars at Indiana. And it starts with accountability. And to me, and I always said this when I came there, first level accountability is when the coaches hold their players accountable. Okay, that's baseline. That has to happen. Well, then in order to grow your program, the step 2 is the players have to take that ownership and they have to hold themselves accountable. And then level 3, when you really take off in an organization, I believe, is when the players hold each other accountable. And that's really, for me, that's when I saw us in 2019 really break through and create the change that we wanted on the field. And it just continued to grow from there. And so I think accountability is baseline to being great in this life. But it starts personally, and then it goes to all the people that you surround yourself with and have the courage and confidence to lead in that way.
Do you find yourself, I know right at the very beginning you said that you're in the position you're in because of coach, but do you find yourself in situ, in real situations, here at Indy, anywhere on the circuit, where you're drawing on those days? What would coach do? What did coach tell me? Do you find yourself doing that for real?
Absolutely. I think about, being calm in moments of pressure. I think a lot of that is built and developed over time. I think about some of the summer workouts that we had together, and
Sure.
They break you down all the way to your base fabric, right? And then you have to rely on those things that the discipline and the character and the toughness and those types of things, right, to get you back into a space where you can focus on what you need to focus on. And I think this is a great example of an event where you can lose your center a bit. You start to press and you can start to do things out of the ordinary because it's such a big thing for us, both financially and both from a public perception and the ability to win the 500 is it's our Super Bowl, right? So you can overextend yourself a bit when you don't need to. So that's really a huge part of what I try to do, is just create home base for everybody to just see it's all good. We're doing the right things. We've done all the development that we needed to do in the off season. We just need to come here and perform. And that's, at its core, that's what we try to do every day.
The similarities continue. Are you ready?
Sure.
So you got IU back to postseason football for a long time. I know this past season wasn't what you hoped it to be. He was battling for a championship last year, but the beginning of this year wasn't what he hoped it would be. It has turned around. How are you going to turn IU around this year?
Well, I think it's what you said, it's core values. I'm a big reader, and this our one word for 2022 is build. And so Built to Last is a book I've read this whole off season, and the thing about that book talks about is a study in some of the most successful organizations in our country's history, or even in the world. And what's the common denominator? They stay true to who they are.
Yep.
Even when things are going your way, like they did great for us in 2020, and then 2021 was tough. And so but when you build something, the trajectory is not like this. Sometimes it's here, and it goes here, may even go here, and you're back here. And so that's where grit comes in. Perseverance and passion to stay the course and to know what you believe, why you believe it. Don't alter from those core beliefs, even when things get hard, and you just stay together. And that's what has been our message to our guys this year, and that's what I believe. We got a really strong core group of guys that believe in what we're doing, and I believe that they'll be the reason why we have a great 2022 season. But to me, it's about understanding who you are. And don't alter from that. Even when things are hard and even when things go against you, you just stay the course, and you just show that what you believe is bigger than the circumstances that you're going through.
So your two drivers, Felix Rosenqvist, Pato Award. Felix just can't seem, if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all this year.
Yep.
Pato Award somehow made this turnaround and had the most spectacular victory at Barber Motorsports Park.
Yep.
Were you behind that? How did you lift them up? What did that do for the team? How did that happen? Why did that happen?
Well, I think for us, I think Pato and the team, we found ourselves in a really good vibe together. I think the start of the season was tough for us, not because we were lacking pace or anything else. We were just making small mental mistakes, right? And when those happen, and they continue to happen, it compounds itself, and you're not finding the results that you want. But for us, I think it was getting Pato in a good space, getting the team in a good space around him to support him, give him everything that he needed. And likewise with Felix. I think Felix is just in need of that one breakthrough moment to get him over the hump. He's not been lacking overall pace. He's qualifying right on par with Pato or anybody else in the series. And having trust and faith in the team around him. It's a good group of people. We've got a great group of people across the organization. And as Coach said, we've got a very particular way of going about our business, and it took us right to the brink of a championship last year. I'm confident that it will lead us there eventually, but sticking to the course and everybody having confidence that this is the right way to go is key. And Felix, you know, he's mentally strong, and he's battling through this. It's a tough point in his career, certainly, but the results will come, and the team will always be there in support of those guys.
I'm interested. When was the last time you spoke before today?
I think last year's race.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The morning of the race, I got a chance to come over here, and hadn't seen him for a long time. We kind of communicated via text and social media messages, but
so you're in touch. You're in touch on a regular
we
basis.
have been, yeah.
Okay.
Which has been, and then honestly, this has brought us back together, you know, because obviously your lives go different directions, and then being able to. So it was about a year ago at this time for sure.
Yep.
Before your injuries, you were a walk-on at IU.
Yep.
Do you still have some IU gear?
I've got the IU passion for sure. The Crimson.
We got to
Cream.
get him some new IU gear.
Yeah,
We'll take care of that.
Crimson Cream is a big part. You know, that for me was, to be fair, I had no business being there. I wasn't big enough. I wasn't fast enough. All those things. But that was my goal. I'd like to play at that level. I had offers. You know, we could have gone to, you know, Wabash or Wittenberg or any of these types of smaller schools. But for me, it was like, if you're going to do something, I want to do it at the top level, and you know the rest is history there. But I had a fantastic experience at IU, something that I could never trade in for anything. Bloomington is a magical place, you know, it really is. And you know, for me, it was about after that chapter in my life. It's okay, you know, once college is over, you got to kind of turn the page, and things move quickly after that. So. That kind of kicked off my professional career, getting into racing, and again, a lot of learnings from that, being around a lot of really good people, a lot of good players. Coach Hepner, Bill Lynch, these guys were all really solid people, you know. And I think that for me, when I look back on all of this in total, it's really been a function of the type of people that I've been around. Coach Dolahan in high school, certainly Coach Allen, just the best people that you could know. Very high character, motivated, driven. And you know, in your professional life, you see the opposite of that a lot, right? People are very selfish in a lot of occasions. The one thing I've never, ever questioned was Coach Allen's genuine nature. He truly loves his players. And when you have somebody that pushes you to the brink, but you know loves you for who you are and what you do, you're willing to do anything. And his leadership style is something that I've always tried to keep it at front of mind and try to mimic and create an environment here with our team where it is about the team first. Everything revolves around that. That's the common denominator for everybody. When you take a step back and you're making decisions, is it in the best interest of the team? Because that's way more important than the individual in this line of business, and really in anything else. So learned a lot from Coach, obviously, but I think his LEO right now is I'm not sure you could sum Coach Allen up any better. I mean, he loves his players love him, and there's no doubt that he'll always get 100% of what those players have to offer.
How do you think he'd look in some McLaren papaya?
I think he'd look fantastic. He'd probably be a heck of a tire changer or fueler or whatever he wanted to be. But maybe we could try him out here one day.
That's right.